It's Thursday, July the 10th.
This is The Warning.
Here were the scenes yesterday in San Francisco. Chaos wrought by ICE. Does this look like competence to you? Is this what law enforcement is and has become? Let's deal with an argument that has been put forward, even suggested by Senator Marsha Blackburn, that to identify one of these public servants is something called doxing. Now, nobody that I'm aware of is talking about identifying photos of where their homes are, their home phone numbers, any of that stuff. But there's a question, and it's a legitimate one. Should we have a secret police or should we not? If we do not believe in a secret police and there are no laws that sanctify a secret police, then is not unmasking said secret police an important civic duty? Again, every one of these people works for who? Kristi Noem? Donald Trump? Wrong answer. Let's see what the sector chief said about who he doesn't work for.
The federal government is not leaving LA. I don't work for Karen Bass. The federal government doesn't work for Karen Bass. We're going to be here till that mission's accomplished, as I said, and better get used to us now because this is going to be normal very soon.
The correct answer, of course, is he works for you and for me and all of the American people in a government of the people, by the people, for the people. And there is a great perversity in the argument being made that law enforcement, the federal agent, needs to be protected from the people they serve. Here's a question, and I ask it sincerely. Here's the sector chief with his rifle. This is his photo on Twitter. Now, the SEAL Team 6 guys don't pose with their long rifles, at least in public. But let's look at the command of the 75th Ranger Regiment. Do their leaders pose with their largest weapons? They do not. This is cosplaying. And this is a type of masculine, toxic, well, I didn't quite make it there, so I'll overcompensate here type of behavior that proves the point. There's no flower in all the world more delicate than the male ego, and for sure, amongst the most delicate petals in all the MAGA garden is the sector chiefs. But who is he fighting? Who is that rifle for? Is it for the Karen Bass voter? Is it for someone who dared to register as a Democrat? Is he a general? Does he fancy himself in command of an army on America's streets? Who exactly will be the 10,000 people hired by ICE to wear masks and to run wild on the orders of whatever sector chief delivers them over the next year or two in the United States? ICE now commands what would be the 15th largest military budget standalone in the world. It is by far the largest law enforcement agency that has ever existed in the history of the United States. And they claim the authority to wear masks, to snatch people off the street without warrants, and to beat you into submission if you don't like the mask. It's un-American, it's unacceptable, and it must be opposed. There are many Democrats who are terribly advised by Democratic political consultants, most of whom are abjectly and completely incompetent. And this goes for every single one of the ones around Chuck Schumer. And what they advise is, well, immigration is Trump's strongest point, though those numbers are collapsing. But because it is his strongest point, those Democratic consultants will say, let's stay quiet about this. Let's not attack, but attack every good American must. Every citizen must realize, regardless of what the polls may be, let's say they stood at 98% were for this. The 2% must rally the rest until the fever breaks. Hold the line until decency can prevail in argument. But thankfully, the American people who in the whole are decent understand that this is not decent, that this is wrong, that this is evil, and it harkens to some of the darkest chapters in the history of the country. Donald Trump has allowed a sick and twisted person who serves him with absolute loyalty that no doubt Trump disdains and thinks of as a weirdo. Do you want to bet that Donald Trump has told many people that he doesn't like being alone with Stephen Miller? For sure he has. The weirdness, the clammy looking skin, the gleamy eye, the zealotry, the hate. Trump wants power, and Trump is vicious and amoral. But Trump isn't weird in the way that Stephen Miller is. He isn't slithering in the way that Stephen Miller is, who reeks of villainy. And Stephen Miller, for whatever brokenness is inside of him, hates. And apparently he has always hated anybody different from him, anybody with brown skin. He is in some sense an enraged school shooter who didn't pick up the rifle. He waited, in a sense. His rage built, and he found his way to politics and power at a moment when politics and public service became the swimming pool of America's untreated psychiatric patients, like her, and her, and her, and of course, him, and him, and him, and this fetid lane, this rotten lane, has given us this. A world where a latter-day Hydra filled with venom and zealotry has planned in the United States a gulag archipelago that will stretch from the Gulf Stream waters to the Redwood Forest to the New York Isles. What a travesty. And it must be opposed. It must be opposed in the society. It must be opposed by the Democratic Party, by the Democratic Party's candidates, and by Americans everywhere who do not, cannot, and must not tolerate this. The jackboot of the federal government coming down, where we are to live under the decree of Trump's sector chiefs? No thanks. And I hope you feel the same. If you're a good American, you do. And this is The Warning.
I'm Steve Schmidt. This is The Warning. I invite you to join this community where I promise to be honest, blunt, and direct about what is happening in this country. America is in crisis. Follow and subscribe to this channel and on Substack. Thank you.